Hello peeps, and welcome to my first CS2 video. This is probably one of the toughest decisions to make, and I'm glad to make this decision. Tekken 8 becomes such a mixed bag, and will always be, but at least Harada put up a good fight, unlike certain people in real life. It certainly ain't perfect, like any other recently released games, but its bugs and limitations can't justify the reason for hating it and making unnecessary drama out of them. Hell, without Gaben's outstanding scheme, I can't even thinking myself buying my childhood wishlist that I always want to experience. CS2 consists of two primary game modes, Premier and Competitive, and, oh, I'm sorry, I don't play casual game modes. Might as well just play single-player games rather than blending myself into the memes. But this is pretty much how Premier mode looked like, and this is such a steady progress. I had 3 wins on Premier yesterday, and it doesn't show Mirage and Inferno in my own graph, which is super. Counter-Strike is always overly competitive, thanks to major hype, and some people certainly have the audacity to be one. But the rest of my matches are so enjoyable that I can perform at my best. People having a good understanding of Nuke as a map and general game sense on how Counter-Strike should be played. Nobody's spacing out and blaming everything but themselves. I don't personally want to grind Premier by myself due to this nature, but considering the results I don't see a point to keep grinding Anubis and tilting too much out of it. Premier's certainly the way to go, and if I keep losing, either I'm queuing Anubis or just play Tony Hawk 1+2 until things calm down by itself. The second mode that I'm going to show you is individual map competitive, which we called matchmaking back in the good old CS:GO days. Both Premier and matchmaking requires grinding and commitment, but the randomness aspect of matchmaking should make you think twice before diving in. I don't really understand why Gaben randomized Counter-Strike's queuing system. Skill balancing in general and how effective trust factor actually is on each player, etc., etc. It's become harder in a way to gain higher ranks, but in CS:GO, cheaters just easily slip into high trust factor matches. The thing with CS:GO is you can basically run it on a potato PC, but not CS2. Source 2 engine upgrade changes the technicals without changing the core gameplay, but it certainly forces people to adapt in a renewed system. Unlike Tekken 8, which becomes Street Fighter and cringed the shit out of me. Games become too technical and the $50 pre-order price tag doesn't justify me to switch over from Counter-Strike. Obviously Tekken 8 provides better single-player experience compared with Tekken 7, but it needs the price drop before even considering it in the first place. There's one other essential feature that makes people keep coming back to Counter-Strike, which is its drop system. I never have money to gamble in the first place, so I'm not gonna bother with case opening addiction. The thing I want to stress out is the integration with Valve's market system. It's dynamic enough to refer it as a finance economy marketing simulator. Prices are rising and dropping, also considering that there are supply and demand feature, which later determined by inflation and currency exchange value. That's primarily the reason I keep telling people to invest eagerly in Counter-Strike items. As long as you play it safe, and most importantly having friends and knowing people on the scene, you're not gonna attach yourself into the cursed world of gambling. Like any other investment methods, you need to increase your stake if you want significant gains on your income, otherwise you'll need to spend enormous amount of time to begin. It's never really a problem for me since I'm a full-time content creator, but it's definitely not the case by most people. In my country, most people still rely on their parents' money to survive, so it's kinda fucked up. That concludes my first impression and overall CS2 experience. I'll definitely make a follow-up video whenever I have time. I forgot to mention on how thoughtful Gaben actually is by cutting us loose for our inactivity. Normally in CS:GO you'll lose your rank after a month of inactivity, but Gaben added active and competitive leaderboard within a season or 3-month span. It certainly gave us enough time window to wind up and relax from sweatiness and fatigue after overly competitive Counter-Strike matches. Thank God I ended my journey before it's too late, so I'll just watch until the new season comes. Now I'm gonna spend the remaining 2 months to play Tony Hawk 1+2, watching YouTube videos, especially from couple channels, and just not giving a fuck about the world for the time being.